Okay guys, welcome back to week 4. So happy to be working with you. Hope you're keeping at it with natural movement. It's not about, again, really quick fixes, it's about consistency. And the nice thing is the more you work on these positions, the more you're going to have actual practical positions that you can use in your real life. There's a certain satisfaction that comes with being able to not just get deep into a stretch, but to find comfort in basic seated positions to help you encourage you to get down at ground level. If you have kids, that's really important. And even as you get older, really important to feel comfortable down there and not be afraid of the ground. Rant over. Anyway, today's practice, we're going to need that counterweight again. And you're also going to need a wall, which I think most of you guys probably have. Worst case scenario, if you're doing this all outside, you could do it against a tree. But yeah, we're going to work on some of the fundamental biomechanics of good standing position first. Okay, it's going to help us with our hanging, it's going to help us with our sitting, it's going to help us really with everything we do. Okay, so I'm going to go to the wall back there and talk you guys through this. Okay, so what you're going to do is go to a wall and you're going to stand up against it. Okay, heels can touch the wall, or maybe they could be about 2 inches away. If your posterior is a little on the bigger side like mine, you might need to stand just a little, with heels just a little bit away from the wall. Okay, hips against the wall. Okay, mid back is going to be against the wall. So these are my shoulder blades up here. I want that space right between your shoulder blades, the lower rhomboid area, for those of you anatomy nerds, okay, to touch the wall. Okay, so my whole lower back doesn't have to press against the wall, but just that point right there. And for a lot of you, when I push that point against the wall, it's going to force your shoulders forward. Okay, and this is your actual standing position, where if we have you in a solid position, a natural position, with respect to your ribs and hips, you're going to be sort of forward, like most of us are from being forward all the time. Our tasks are always forward anyway. Okay, so what we want to be able to do is, instead of thrusting our ribs forward to get into a nice upright position, what we want to do is find our real position and open from there. So what I'm going to do, find that position, find that spot, really press it against the wall, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin my hands until they face each other. You look at babies, or younger children, their hands face each other as they walk, whereas ours do this. Okay, so face those hands toward each other. Without losing contact with that point in your lower rhomboid area, try to roll your shoulders back. So you're peeling your shoulders away from the midline, external rotation, and try and touch the back of your shoulders to the wall. For a lot of you, that's going to force that spot off of the wall, so what you want to do is find a compromise to where you can touch that point and still be opening and breathing. If you're here and you're, okay, it's going to be too much. I want you to get there and breathe and just feel that position. Next, I'd like the lower part of your skull to also touch the wall if possible. Okay, so this is again going to be difficult for many of you, but let's just find a compromise, find as much of this position as you can, keeping that same point of contact, again, the mid-back against the wall. And breathe. 5 breaths here. Shoulders are away from the ears. Shouldn't be struggling too much, just kind of finding a compromise, just really feeling your body and setting that position. Now what we're going to do is carry that over to our seated positions. Okay, so cross-sit position, breathe, find that same position. Do some 3-dimensional natural breathing, diaphragmatic breathing for 2 breaths. And let's do some scanning like we did a couple weeks ago. So looking left and right, you can use a little bit of help to pull yourself around. And notice, even to do the experiment of rolling your shoulders forward and trying to look around the horizon and see how far you get. Now let's roll our shoulders. Let's find a good position here. It's not just about the shoulders, it's our whole spine. Find a good position, even if it's a little difficult to hold, and rotate. And notice how much more range of motion you have here. And that's the practical purpose here. Is it's not just about posture. It's about my ability to see my horizon and to be able to move. If I'm here like this, it's hard to move. Okay? So let's get to that nice upright position. We're going to get to what we call a figure 4 sit. So the inside leg here in our cross sit position stays where it is, and this other leg is just going to post up. And now what I want you to do is I want you to post your hand this first time, point your toes, and what we're going to do is just roll over until we're sitting in a figure 4 kneeling position. Okay? Then I'm going to post, sit down nice and slow, and switch sides. You should be sitting right on the top of your ankle. Again, if you have a limitation here, position a block so you end up on the block, or hold yourself up, whatever works for you. One more time per side. Okay, now let's see if we can do that without posting. Okay, so reaching. Okay, but if you reach and this happens, that means your spine is trying to do the job of your hips. So we're trying to displace our center of gravity forward. Okay, what I'm essentially trying to do is use my arms, momentum, and my upper body to counterbalance the fact that my center of gravity is over here. If I can get my center of gravity more over my base of support, suddenly this becomes doable. Okay, if it's not doable, well, there's a couple things we can do. Okay, one thing we can do is use this counter load here. Okay, so instead of having to round your spine to get there, now you have this nice upright spine. You can kind of push this forward, and this can help guide you into position. Let's try one of those per side. If this isn't working, just go back to the post. Let's do another per side. Okay, you can set that down. Now, whichever variation worked best for you, what I want you to do is one more per side, really slow. Okay, so slow that you can really feel your body articulating, your breathing, and slow enough on the way back to where you don't just plop and hit your hips on the ground. Okay, so I'm here, coming up slow, breathing, and then coming down really slow. So I don't want to plop, sit, and switch. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to combine this with some rocking and turn it into a get up. So just do a set of 5 rocks to warm up your spine. Do a couple twists, looking over the shoulders in bent sit position. Okay, and now we're going to do the figure 4 get up. Okay, so we're going to be linking those two movements, rocking right up into our figure 4 to like what we call a tall half kneeling position, which is just like a lunge position to stand up. Okay, come to your figure 4 position. Come to a lunge position, stand, work your way back down, nice and slowly. Okay, now when I rock back, I'm also going to switch legs. So right in midair, I switch, which leg is forward. And then I'll repeat. Okay, let's do one more per side. Being mindful of how your body's moving, thinking about that center of gravity and how it's moving over your base of support. Okay, let's do a couple other sits today. Let's do some side bent sit reverses with a twist. Okay, you can reach with it if you like to, if that helps you really get that stretch. One more per side. Okay, you'll notice so far we haven't had to get really deep into any stretches, and we really already should feel a lot more mobile. Okay, and that's again what this is about. Not to say anything's wrong with really deep stretches, but I feel like I'm going to be wasting your time to just hold stretches for, 5 stretches for, a few minutes each, when we can actually get some real movement, get your body actually moving. I think we're going to get more bang for our buck that way. That said, feel free to, find long stretches in these positions. So if I want to get to side bent sit, reach almost into what would be considered like a pigeon position from a natural perspective, a reaching position, and hold here for a while. By all means, you should be practicing this stuff on your own in doing that. Let's use this counterweight and get to a long sit position. Okay, so again here, I shouldn't be stuck like this. I can use this weight to kind of hold me up. And either reach forward and breathe. Then I can go into open wide sit position and do the same thing. 3 breaths. also good to pulsate a little bit. So go down, hold for a second, and then come back up. Come over one side, come back up, other side, come back up. Let's get into our deep squat however you need to. Okay, you can start top down, meaning stand up, and just ease yourself into it, holding something. Let's just do 5 reps here. Try to keep your gaze pretty far forward. Step closer, let's do 2 deep knee bends, nice and slow. Good, let's come to our hanging position. Let's do our regular hang. Thinking about that wall behind you, same principles here. And let's just hang. 5 breaths. And relax and shake it out. Okay, now this time what we're going to do is we're going to do those same things we did last time. We're going to do that with your body weight suspended on the bar. Let's actually do a couple of what we did last time where we're falling into the stretch, staying active though. Falling doesn't mean just totally collapsing. And then pushing ourselves out of there. I push down on the bar, just like so, rotating my arms so that armpits are closing toward each other, pits of the elbows roll toward the ceiling. And then fall into it. Control yourself into it, probably the better term. Actively pull yourself in. Okay, now we're going to do that holding with our body weight suspended here. So it's going to look like this. Okay, I push forward into the bar, lean back a bit, and then relax. Push forward and relax. Find my position. Push forward and relax. Let's do shake out your arms again. We're going to do one more set of 3. Push, relax, push, relax, push, relax. Good. Okay. So as we do this, what we're doing is we're getting internal and external rotation of our arms overhead, and we're moving in these positions. Now I will contrast this if you're used to mobility training to, where you're trying to stretch internal and external rotation. Okay, so if I'm just on my back, let's say doing one of these classic sleeper type stretches, nothing wrong with that, but we want to carry this over into real life movement, which with overhead movements, with crawling type movements, we're getting a lot of those type of movements already in our practice. Now if we're just doing either nothing or traditional weightlifting, we're not getting a lot of that movement. So between static stretching and actual movement, we should be able to restore that ability to move a little bit more naturally. Okay, so find a comfortable seated position, and let's take another 5 breaths here to close out our practice. Okay, I'll let you guys do that on your own, and I'll see you guys next week. Great job.